So, good afternoon, esteemed participants, and welcome to our educational webinar hosted by the International Trade Council. I am Anne, your host for today. Before we dive into today's discussion, let's confirm our technical setup. Please type yes in the chat box if you can hear me and see the presentation. So, let's take a moment for everyone to respond first. Okay. Thank you for confirming everything. So today's session focuses on expanding your presence in the Middle East market. So this webinar focuses on preparation for market entry, avoiding common mistakes and misconceptions, unlocking the key to success current trends. A topic of a great importance. So we are privileged to have Sonia Zaknoun, founder at Kaza Consultancy with us. Without further delay, I'll hand over to you the mic, Miss Sonia.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you. Very pleased to be here today with you all. And as much as the subject can be vast, we will try to at least discuss today the first few points. And we can of course, ask me question or even contact me later on if you want to discuss your project a little bit more in details. So today, the subject being expanding your presence in the Middle East market. A little bit about myself. So I am originally from France, from a little town called Besançon next to Switzerland. And I have been living and working in the Middle East, based in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates for almost 17 years now. And I have experience of more than 20 years in business development strategy. So I have worked with international brand like Nespresso and a local-based company. If you are familiar with Dubai, I'm sure you have heard about this company called Emar, which is a company in real estate and hospitality sector. So I work now with businesses who want to develop their activities and business activities in the region. And I love to travel. I'm a tango dancer, and yeah. So we start now. We will discuss four main points. Number one would be how to prepare your presence in the Middle East. The point number two would be the most common mistakes to avoid and the misconception about the Middle East. We will discuss some keys to success and end with sharing some current trends in the market right now. So before starting, I also want to show this map of the region. And again, you will hear a lot about this expression called GCC, so the Gulf Cooperation Council. Usually, when you want to enter this region, there's a lot, of course, we talk a lot about Dubai, and there is the eyes on Saudi Arabia right now. But usually, you will want to tackle basically the whole country. So we have the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, with Dubai, the capital being Abu Dhabi, just to mention that. We have Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. So usually when you enter the market, you will usually start by UAE and Dubai and then extend to the region. Okay. How to prepare your presence in the Middle East. The way I want to discuss this presentation today is to really give as much as possible, like clear information, details, experiences, stories that I've been through myself or my clients, to give and put things a little bit more clear and straightforward than the fantasy that we can have about the market. So first is to know your market and understand the Middle East market. When you enter a new market, it's anyway very important to understand it. But for the Middle East, I think it's even more important due to the complexity, if I can say, and even international interest about the region. I would like to say that market research is going to be a very important phase. I see, unfortunately, way too often companies who and depending on the size even of the company, coming in the region without doing any market research and just assuming that they know. And I think there's at the moment a lot of things going on TV, shows and reportage and documentary about the region, but there's a lot of marketing behind that. So this is good. This is good for companies who wants to come here, who are based here. But there is the marketing approach from the countries, but there's also the reality on the ground. So the whole world wants to come in this part of the in this region. So not only that you compete with your neighbor market, but you really compete with the world. So it's very important to do market research to understand what's going on with your particular product. Who are your competitors? What are the prices, the flavors, the sizing, the checking all these little details who are extremely important to then position your own brand and your own product range. Sometimes I have clients who have, it can be in food and beverage, for example. This is a classic example where the client has and the company has a product range and decide or think that they will enter the market selling the full range. Usually it's better to see what product will work for this particular market. So it's a very competitive market, very, very price oriented, but I will talk about it later on. So taking the time to understand what's going on. Nobody, unfortunately, is actually waiting for you. It's well advanced. The region has a lot of things already. So do not assume. Take the time to understand either you directly or either working with a locally based company who can help you to do that. But yes, be curious and really take the time to understand what is already in the market, and you will be surprised that usually the product already exists. It doesn't mean, of course, you can always introduce your brand, but just be smart in seeing how you can position your brand. So this is a very important to understand and analyze the landscape. And I would like to also add that the customer behaviors, the way of identifying your sales channels are also very different from a country to another. So, for example, if you target and want to sell your product and brand in the Middle East, meaning first, let's say the UAE and Dubai, and you target, for example, Saudi Arabia, already is two different markets. And I will talk about it in identifying your audience. But for example, the sales channels are very different from one country to another. For example, in the UAE, most of the retailers, let's say you have here Carrefour, you have Spinneys, Waitrose, and all these international brand and local brands. The retailers here will mostly buy through distributors, even if they have quite of a big number of outlets and point of sales. They will buy through a distributor for logistic to make sure that the distributor will place the product on shelves, etc. In Saudi Arabia, for example, on the same concept and example of retailers, most and some of the brands, some of the retailer brands, will actually buy directly from you. So this is something that you see already on the sales channels can be different. And sometimes in Saudi Arabia, though it's really growing, and I will talk more and more about it during the session, some of the retail brands will ask you exclusivity. So, which you don't have the case, and it's really rare. You can have it in UAE, but it's rare. In Saudi Arabia, for new brands, it's quite common for the retailer to ask you for exclusivity, either supermarket, hypermarket, either pharmacy, on the retail space. Second point is to know the legislation for your product category. Again, please take the time to understand what are the legislation, if it's food and beverage, if it's a cosmetic. Do I need to register in Dubai municipality? What documentation do I need? I see again is a misconception or the fantasia to go straight away with assumptions. It's very important to take the time to understand what are the processes for your particular product. For example, I had the case with a company who was selling a supplement, vitamin supplements, and one of the product in the packaging, it was written. If you start putting, for example, information that is for health enhancement, then it can go then to Ministry of Health, and you don't want that because it takes much more time. So it's very important the word that you are using to use properly to be careful with the word that you are using. So yeah, know the gist of your product category, the cost, timeline, documentation that you need to provide. For example, again in UAE, you might not have to automatically have Arabic translation, for example. But again, if you go to Saudi Arabia, Arabic translation is much more important to have. So again, one country to another, just try to see and understand and ask what is the legislation for the country. Identifying your audience, and I go a little bit from the point A about the market. For example, in the UAE, numbers changed a little bit recently, but I would say that 10 to 14% of the population is actually Emirati, local, and the rest are expats, is an expat community. This expat community is coming from different countries. You have in Europe, for example, England, English are quite high number. Indian, in the Arab world, you have a lot, maybe number one Egyptian, Lebanese, etc. So when you sell a product, who are you exactly targeting? And when I ask this question, I can see that most of the time the answer is not very clear from the client. So really try to see and understand who you are exactly targeting. And one mistake can be, oh, I'm French, so I'm targeting the French community. I am French, and I will tell you that if I target only the French community, I'm not going to sell a lot, right? So it's important to be very open to the different nationalities that you might target. And okay, I talk about nationalities because it's a big subject here, because we have 200 nationalities in UAE, but it can be age, all this. So, and in terms of audience, it goes from extremely rich people to very low income, with people who have very, very low income. So again, identifying your audience is going to be extremely important. And I would also say, do not always think that you have to target high-end, VIP, exclusive, very expensive. The people and the person who are extremely rich might actually not really buy brands who are not known. And I'm mentioning this because you are coming from many countries in the world. You can actually maybe write which country you're coming from. Would be great for me to know. Maybe I can see a little bit more in detail, so I can see that someone is from the Netherlands. So yeah, write down where you're from. India, Italy, United States. So you see, we have. It's what I was saying earlier. The whole world wants to be here. I used to say that I'm 17 years in the UAE, in Dubai now, and I like to say that I came and I landed in this country totally by chance, when now the whole world wants to be here. So you see already the approach is different. So yes, identifying your audience. And I like to give these two examples of UAE and Saudi because it's just like the main market right now. That's all. It might change in a few years. But let's say right now, in Saudi, it's inverse. In Saudi, 10% are expat, the rest are Saudi people. So already you approach and your message and your marketing and who you're going to target and your sales channels are going to be already very, very different from UAE to Saudi, you see? So identifying your audience is extremely important here. Excuse me. Okay. And I would like just to add one thing about these two markets. For example, I was saying 10 to 15% Emiratis and the rest are expat in UAE. In Saudi, let's say it's inverse. And also in Saudi, 20, I would say 70%, 75% of the population is below 25 years old. So you know where you're going with that one. I would like to say that if you target already younger generation, they can actually grow with your own brand also. So this is quite huge. And the UAE is 10 million or 9 to 10 million people in the all UAE. So Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and five other states. When Riyadh only, for example, is 13 million people. So you see your approach is very, very much different. If you have question, we can maybe ask at the end if it's fine for everyone. So we have Ecuador, Greece, South Africa. Perfect, I love that. Okay, next point, which I love, is the most common mistakes. And I really believe that the Middle East has probably the most of the misconceptions of all markets. So the first point I want to really talk about is the culture in business. So neglecting this cultural sensitivity can be challenging. You don't want to obviously offend anybody, and when you are not familiar with I would say two things: the Arab world. It's still the region is very, very much open, as you know, but it's still a Muslim country. So you don't want to make what we call a faux pas and do and have an attitude or say something that can offend the person that you have in front of you. So as pure example and pure experience, the relation, let's say, in general, but less in business, because we're here to talk about business, men to women, women to men. And again, it has changed so much the last few years. So what I faced myself 17 years ago and 15 years ago is definitely different today. But still, to keep in mind. So I'll give you this example. I was very new here, and I'm having a meeting with a Emirati company in oil and gas called Emirat, and I'm arriving in the office. There's a very big lobby and waiting area, and I'm waiting for my meeting, to meet the person I'm supposed to meet for my meeting. And there's a young gentleman, Emirati, wearing what we call, for a man, it's called dishdash. This is a white attire for men. And for your information, the ladies wear, so this black outfit is called abaya, with a shawl or a scarf. So I'm waiting for my meeting, and there's this young Emirati coming to me, and me, bon, automatically I want to share hands, and the gentleman was like, I'm very respectful in a very respectful way, but say, look, I'm sorry, I cannot share your hand. I'm like, please, I'm shake hands, sorry, not share, shake my hand. So of course I totally understood, and then I'm being introduced to the person I'm having the meeting with, who is actually was much older. And I said to myself, I'm going to learn and I will not shake the hand. And this gentleman almost hugged me, right? So you're like, what shall I do now? Like, how do I behave? So the advice I give is to basically wait the person in front of you to just do the first gesture. So either the person will shake hand or not, or we stay, still, etc. So just wait the person to have the first act and action. And again, this goes for women and men. Also, in terms of discussion, sometimes we feel like, we need to give compliment. And again, like, well, woman to man is probably different, of course, but like, as a man, I would probably not say to a woman that she looks nice and, like, keep kind of like your comment for yourself, if I can say, on the physical approach. But yeah, and also on this cultural approach is your marketing. The message, the words that you are using. Again, it's very open nowadays here, but you have to be also very, very careful. So on packaging, we don't show bodies. And I work with a brand from England who was doing a product for female, And when they sent me the marketing deck, I almost had a heart attack of all the bodies. And I think nowadays we embrace different shapes, different color, and I love that. It's fantastic. But again, in this part of the world, let's be a little bit, sensitive and take a step back and being very careful in what we show in our presentations. Okay, so no bodies. We can have shape, like a drawing can work. But yes, let's be very sensitive, very careful with that. And I would like to say, like, for example, it was 2 weeks ago. It the holy month of Ramadan. So again, the country UAE especially is very, very multicultural, etc. But again, in the pure business approach, the country is very active during Ramadan, so it's not an issue. Before it used to be totally almost closed, but now there's absolutely no difference. Everything is open. The malls are open, the restaurants are open, the coffee shops are open. So this is you don't be worried about that. However, to maybe again be a little bit sensitive to not arrive in a meeting with a bottle of water in your hand. So the month of Ramadan, for the person who might not know, it's a month where Muslim will fast from sunrise to sunset. So during that time, there's no eating, no drinking, even water, nothing. So again, to have this bit of a sensitivity when you're in a meeting during this month, to be a bit respectful at the end of the day. In Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, in Qatar, you might see much more difference during the day, like Dubai was 15 years ago and even 10 years ago, where the restaurant would be closed or at least hidden, that you cannot really consume in the streets or in open space, which now again is much more open. So don't be worried. However, another point is that the weekends. So, for example, here, being a Muslim country, the holiday, if I can say, it's a Friday, like we have, for example, in Christian countries, Sundays being off. But UAE have changed now. So the weekend is Saturday, Sunday. So very much aligned with the rest of the world, which is great for meetings, by the way, great for business. But Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, etc., is still weekend on a Friday and Saturday. So for example, if you organize and plan a business trip, please keep this in mind. You might want to come already on Sunday. You can have meeting on Sundays in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. So again, when you plan your business trips, keep this in mind. The second mistake can be to do the business the same way you do in your own country. I think it's related pretty much to what some points I said earlier. But I hear sometimes, no, we do like this at home, in our country, we do like this in our region. It works very well, so why shall we change? But again, you have to adapt. You have to adapt with the market, to adapt with the audience you are targeting. You have to adapt the sales channels to be suitable for this particular market. So this I see it a lot. But again, you might have also the wrong tagging, the wrong approach. Things that you buy in France, in Europe, in the US, maybe in a supermarket. Here you buy it maybe in a pharmacy. So understanding your sales channels are extremely important, and do not assume that it's the same that in your own country. Alors, this is my favorite, to increase prices, because it's the Middle East, and of course we are all millionaires. This is very wrong. It's an extremely price sensitive market. And I would like to ask one question to the audience. I would like to ask if you already tried and approached this market. Have you already came to the Middle East? Have you already tried to do business here? Maybe you're already active here and you want to expand more. I would love to know if you already started, or if you already had an approach to the Middle East market. If you started already to target this market. Excuse me. So yes, increase the prices. It's very common. I was myself very surprised when I started working with my clients a couple of years ago. But there is really much this idea that everything is VIP, everything is high end, everything is it has to be expensive. It's very wrong. It's extremely price sensitive. Sometimes the first question can be how much before you can talk about the product and the your USPs and your specification and the quality. So yeah, and people here really check. They do their own market research, meaning if you introduce a brand and product, they would check. It can be, of course, basic online research, huh? How much the product is sold in other markets. So this will be the point of reference, and they will do their own calculation to see, how come like the price is different. And sometimes, because it's also a fact, you might have your product from whatever in the world, like as a brand, but you might be producing it. And I give this very basic example now. Let's say in China. So technically, the product is not even produced in the US or produced in Europe or produced, in South America. Sometimes it's produced even in China. So the client will be like, the buyer will be, how come I'm more expensive when you produce even next to me and should be even cheaper? So yeah, your price range, your price positioning, this is extremely important to take the time to work on that. Understanding, because again, depending on the price, usage channel will be different. So, is it a mass product? And then I will go in some supermarket brand. If it's high end, even for project, if you target project, if you're into construction, not every project is luxury. Not every owners of a hotel, of residence, etc., is a high end or let's say VIP. So positioning your product with a price is going to be extremely important. So I see that some persons have already approached the market. Telecom, very good. Some people are already in Dubai and in Saudi, very good. Yeah, they ask for discounts. The meters have changed since the 90s. I totally agree. Never start with a minimum price. Always keep a margin negotiation. And it's a common thing. People are not shy. Huh? People are not shy in this part of the world to ask you for discount and big discounts. We used to say when I was working in Europe and I was working in UK, etc. We say if you don't look good if you come back to a client with a huge discount. It means you try to steal him at first. Here you can. I don't say you have to, because I don't think it's the right approach. But if you come back to a client, you go back to the client, with a big negotiation margin, etc. You will sell. It's not people will not get offended, for example. Yeah, the Italian Chamber of Commerce actually is quite active. We can talk about it later, Barbara, because you said you tried, so maybe it didn't work. Let's see. Yeah, so very good. The next subject, if I can call it like this, is a keys to success. Establishing a strong local partnership for market entry is very important. You know what? Let me talk about the point 1 and 2 together. Build relationships. Building a relationship is very important here. Might be the same in so many other markets, huh? But in the Middle East, who you know, or if you know people, I will say more this way, if you know people, it helps you much more. It helps you to have a meeting first. It helps you to get information from the client side. So when we want to introduce or target, or we want to bid for a project, it's very difficult to get information what the budget is. We ask, what's your budget? What this, what that? Very difficult to have this information. But when you have a relationship with a procurement, maybe manager or person, the department, with the management, if you have a relationship, one person working in operation, in the production, anybody, you will then be able to get information, and then it's easier for you to basically send your proposal. So yes, taking the time to build relationship and finding the right partnership. Meaning, most of the case, people are telling me, I just want a distributor. Fine, you want a distributor because actually, as I said earlier, in some markets, you need a distributor anyway because people don't buy direct, the buyers. But again, is a distributor has a financial stability because they're the one who will buy your product. And by the way, going back to prices and market, etc., research, market research and all these sales channels, you have here what we call let's say credit facilities. So you will have with the client credit terms, so you can basically, be paid with certain terms and conditions. So it can be 50% advance payment and the 50%, let's say, on delivery. Or if it's retailer, you have, for example, credit facilities in place. So every time you've been paid after 30 days, 60 days. And I'm telling you something, this has changed a lot also. Before it was 15 days, let's say 30 days now, and I have clients who are shocked, and I am shocked too, by the way, but you have retailers, buyers, even in construction, by the way, holding companies, contractors, fit-out companies, who literally will ask and will pay you after 120 days. This is huge. And you have your own, you need your cash flow, you need to buy material yourself. So it's extremely tricky. So finding even a distributor, if it doesn't have the financial stability, you will be in you will have big problems. So finding a right distributor who maybe also have the right, is the right relationship for you in the market. Does he know people that you want to target? Correct? Either in construction, in retail, maybe in ministries, in governments. So finding the right partners are extremely important. Don't just jump like, oh yeah, I got a distributor, he will do everything for me. This is very wrong. So and we see a lot of cases like this, a lot of cases. So you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to have the wrong reputation in the market because again, sometimes we have one chance to enter a market, and having the wrong partner will not show and introduce your brand correctly. And it's your brand at the end of the day, it's you. So build a relationship and really find and partner with the right partner with the right partners, if I can say. So a partner can be a distributor. A partner can be a company who represents your brand, maybe on strategic perspective. A partner can be someone who does, we talk about market research. Maybe don't waste your time doing it yourself at the end of the day, Ask companies and people based here to do it for you. So all these partners are extremely important, and then I jump to the next point to tell and prepare your storytelling, because again, be involved, be curious. Again, have cases of clients who are like, oh, I have a distributor now, that's it. No, you really need to be involved, understanding what the distributor is doing in terms of marketing strategy. This where can be a difference between you and a competitor, I was taking it earlier, but even if when you meet a distributor, for example, try to understand what they're doing already. Try to understand what brands they're already distributing. Because again, you target a distributor who has the same product as you, so you might not want to have the same two type of product, correct? Then you have a distributor who have similar product, and new product can be an added value to his portfolio. If you go and sell lighting in a construction project, and you're presenting this to an architect, to a designer, to maybe a owner, try to see, what they are currently building, what project they have done, and your story will make a difference between you and another supplier who will just randomly send information without trying to understand. So at the end of the day, it's your identity, it's your brand, and the story is very important. And I put at the end, be patient. It takes time. It takes time, even if everybody wants your product and there's a real interest, it takes a lot of time. I feel sometimes here there is too many people involved. So when you target a project, for example, or you want to sell your product to a retail space like a supermarket, or you want to sell your product, present it to for a construction project, and I'm myself being here, right? And sometimes I'm like, who is in charge? Who's taking the decision here? Because you keep talking to people, and it's very difficulties to closing the deal. So I hear sometimes we have difficulties to close the deal, and I would like to say, I should have said that earlier. I forgot. The Middle Eastern culture is very friendly. So if you had, maybe you participated to an event here, Big Five, which is a construction show in Dubai, if you, and they have it in Saudi now anyway, but like Gulf Foods, etc. You are in your booth, you are in your exhibition, and you will have, visitors. You will talk to people, and people will tell you that your product is amazing. They will tell you that you are amazing. you know. So you have a lot of this, so you have all these opportunities, and you leave the show thinking, wow, I'm going to be very rich before the end of the year. Then you go back home and you get back to these people, and nobody's responding to you. Nobody's replying to you. So, the roller coaster of emotions. So it's very like, yeah, be patient. I have clients who tell me, no, I want in 1 month, 2 months. It takes time. It takes time. But again, if you follow everything that I said earlier, your process will be definitely faster. But yeah, you need to be a little bit patient. So the last point is more kind of like current trends, where you can have an interest from the markets, because also the market is looking for product. I have buyers asking me, look, we're looking for this, we're looking for that. So this started already a few years, but the organic product, clean product, etc. So for example, going back, if I talk about food and beverage, for example, going back to the roots. I have Emiratis clients telling me now we want product that our grandparents were eating. When you buy tomato sauce, you want to see tomato. You don't want to see a list of product you don't even understand, right? So ingredients you don't understand. So clean product. And this goes for food and beverage, goes for cosmetic, goes for even household products. So in me, I see myself in the retail space, let's say supermarket or hypermarket. The shelves and aisle of organic product and clean product are much bigger now. Before you couldn't find, I would say. Now is like there's a real sensitivity from the customers become more and more sensitive with this type of product. So there's definitely still a growth there. Because again, talking about UAE and Saudi, UAE in terms of organic product is already there. In Saudi, it's getting more and more. So you have a huge room to introduce your product in these categories. And this I mentioned it later on, but like for example, so in terms of construction, development, sustainable product, I mean the government, because it's more on the government even level. We have the COP, which number was it? COP 28 in Abu Dhabi, in UAE, so in Dubai, not long ago, beginning of the year, end of last year, sorry. So the region in terms of government is really pushing about sustainability. It's very slow. UAE, for example, in terms of not using plastic bags in supermarket, they've been talking about it for years. Very, very slow to change the mentality of people. So people here love using plastic bags. And that's why when I go to Europe, I forget that I need to bring my own bag. So, and again, now there's a new law that you cannot use any more plastic bags, but you can buy it. So if I'm going to a supermarket, if I want to, there is still plastic bag everywhere, but I just have to pay for it. So yeah, green technology. We have also the farming. How to, and COVID was a big hit because of course we import a lot of things here, like almost everything. So how can we become sustainable as a country? So every technology that you can present to the governments for the countries to become more and more sustainable and to be sorry, the French word is coming to me. To sustain themselves, this is also a very good category of services and product that you can target and market in this part of the world. So green digital transformation, everything here is very much about digital marketing, online, social. So yeah, online is very important here. But I think the new generation is all about digital nowadays. So infrastructure development. So I don't know if you have watched the news today. We had huge rain yesterday in Dubai. I was not sure that my internet would work today, so it was apparently we had for during 2 hours like the most rain you had in 75 years, and everything stopped from metro to the road, construction became sometimes not the best, so malls, water everywhere, water covering cars. So the infrastructure and anything that you can provide as new technology for the countries to be developing the infrastructure is very good. Healthcare. Healthcare is a real business here. I'm saying it straight away. We can have a surgery tomorrow because obviously you pay for it. But I can see that in Europe, where we have free healthcare in some countries, most of them, you cannot have appointments sometimes within 6 months. All these things. So here you don't have this issue. United States, well, in healthcare, I'm less familiar, but I think it's a little bit like UAE probably. But yes, so the healthcare innovation, the government also is very involved in awards, event organizations to bring new technology here. So the UAE and definitely the UAE more than Saudi right now, but it's going to go to the same direction. Everything innovative, you can come. However, I want to insist on that point just to finish. Be advanced in your project. For example, I see a lot of people want to come here to find investors. It's not that easy to find investors, and not everyone wants to invest on something that is not finished. So this is one of the main. I should have talk about it in the previous slides, but in terms of the misconception and mistakes, uh, looking for an investor when you have very advanced stage in your project development is not going to work. It's very, very rare that someone is going to invest in you. I'm just saying, because it's more followers and leaders, meaning we want a product that everybody has. That's why, like on the investment and innovation, still be quite advanced. That's it. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Sonia Zaknoud. This is my contact, and I would be very happy to work with you on your project, and or even like have a little chat and on Zoom or something to see and assess your project. Voilà. If you have questions,
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Miss Sonia.
you're
So
welcome.
let's open the floor to your question. Please submit please submit them on the Q&A tab or on the chat box, and I will select a few for Sonia to address it live. So but before that, I'd like to highlight some key points. I wanted to remind you, or I wanted to inform you that today's sessions has been recorded and will be available on the ITC YouTube channel. And for the non-members or not already a members of the ITC who presents today, you are eligible for a free ITC membership. And for all of the participants, all of the participants will receive certificates of participation as a token of our appreciation. So look out for further details via email. So let me check if there's any questions here. Okay. So here, this is the question from Andrea Espinoza. What about certifications needed to enter into the market?
Alors, I would like to say that it depends on the product. The certifications in terms of product, I don't know if you're talking about product registration. This depends on the product. Food and beverage, as you can imagine, you need to register the product to make sure that is aligned with the country. For example, if it's halal, no alcohol, things like that. So on the food and beverage, this is product registry for the product registration. And in terms of certification, I can send it to you even later by product, but like you have like a list of documentation to provide for the registration, I would say. I don't know if I'm answering the question. If certification means product registration, then you have to provide just a couple of information on production, things like this.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So let me go ahead and okay, so here, there is a question from Dr. Anjani. I would like to know, is there a scope in Middle East for public relations agency work for foreign-based PR companies?
In the scope in Middle East for public relations or PR, agency work for foreign-based PR companies. What do you mean? Like you mean a PR company based in UAE but working with foreign companies, or a PR agency based outside of the Middle East and want to work with companies here? By the way, both are possible. Just to say, I was talking earlier about digital. Um, digital marketing, digital all this. So the PR companies, I would say that, alors let's go for Middle East. I think you are for work for foreign-based PR companies. Yes, so I would say that usually for PR companies, I would say that you are more successful if you are based here because you need to know the market, right? Like, see, if me, I'm launching my brand or I'm doing an event or I need to grow my business, I would probably prefer as a customer to work with an agency who is based in the Middle East and know the market, because you will not understand who are, like, maybe what magazine I should target, what client, maybe the follower, the company based in foreign, PR company based in foreign. So I would say outside. It can work, but I would say that the PR company should probably be based in the Middle East for more success. Anything else, digital, can be based outside. Most of the companies are even based outside, in India,
Okay.
etc. Actually, but for PR, I
o-
would definitely say, as a client, I want to work with a PR company who is based here.
Okay.
But you can have a
Thank you so
subsidiary account.
thank you so much for that, Miss Sonia. So I also have a question here from Miss Fleur Van Welly. You talk a lot about products. Do you also have experience with going on to the ME market with services?
Yes, yes. I work, for example, with an interior designer company who wanted to expand their activities in the Middle East. So my work with them was to, it's about creating awareness at the end of the day. As I say, you cannot buy a product if you don't know it exists, and a product is physical product or a service. So I have worked with companies who are selling or providing a service. Yes.
Thank you so much. So I have a questions here from Miss
Device, for example,
Dara.
companies are developing devices. How can we open our
Okay.
company in Dubai?
Yes.
So to open your company in Dubai, but you have designated, it's very easy, I would like to say in general. Huh? Depending on the product and service that you are, if it's service, you can easily, I would like to say, open, because you can open it what we call a free zone or in mainland. Free zone, anything, service, I would say just open in free zone. If you are, for example, targeting, because also I would like to ask to add something. If you import product, for example, you import product to the UAE and you open your company in the UAE, free zone or mainland will also depend if you sell only in UAE or you will sell outside of UAE. So for example, when I talk about the Middle East market, what we call GCC, if I'm importing product in the UAE, I have a warehouse in UAE, for example, but I'm selling my product also in Saudi, in that case, free zone is better because of the tax perspective. It is, I would say, another even like subject altogether. But yes, tax perspective also. How can I say that? Depending where you sell your product and who are your clients, if they're only UAE based or even in just CCC based. But how can you open a company in Dubai? You just pay. It's very easy, very easy. It takes a couple of days. What you need to be careful on is a bank. Some people say it's difficult to open a bank account, business bank accounts. But again, very rare to have challenges. It's open, and you have for free zone companies, you can open with. Um, there's a lot of free zone area now. So you have DMCC in GLT, you have Rakem, which is Ras Al Khaimah, because you have 7 states in UAE. So Dubai, Abu Dhabi, you have Ajman, Ras Al Khaimah, Al Kuwain. I'm forgetting one. So this states also have a free zone. So it's also sometimes cheaper to open to, but then it doesn't have to be in Dubai, for example. But if you can tell what products you are selling, Gaurav, what product are you selling? Yeah, okay. So if it's re-export purposes, maybe free zone is better for you. Yes. I can put you in touch with companies who assist in company registration. But
Sure, will do,
also,
Pearl.
yeah, and sorry, I would like to add an important point. When you open a company, please ask a lot of questions, meaning you pay for your license and you renew your license every year, meaning this is a cost. Okay? Well, you will say me, okay, it's normal. But also an important point, if you do not renew your license and basically you close your company, you also need to pay. You pay a fee to close your company. So there's a lot of cost. The visa, you have, of course, your visa. Um, uh, for example, now it's 2 years visa. Before it was 5 years, 10 years, it's a nice 2 years. You might have heard about this golden visa, etc. Well, you can consider that, of course. So it's important to recheck every single cost that you need to think today and in the future when you open your company. And also, if you need a distributor, because you might not open the all preparation facilities, you don't need to open a company. Because let's say you're selling, I don't know, whatever product, and you don't have the warehouse, it's not your operation, you have a distributor, then you don't need to open a company because you work with a distributor.
Thank you so much for that. So let us answer, or let you answer this last. I will take a last question here from Jordan. So, which trade shows are worth attending for product promotion in the ME, specifically technology based?
Okay, so this is a good question. Regarding the events, the trade shows, I look at it in 2 ways. Sometimes it's your own industry. So you're like, okay, this is my industry. I want to be in this exhibition. Sometimes it depends who you target. For example, your product can be, we say technology, and you have a technology event like GITEX. GITEX is huge actually in technology. So new product, device, etc. Example, your product is a technology product, but you are targeting construction project. In that case, you can maybe participate in the Big Five, which is a construction trade show. You see, because then the people will go to this show are people in the targeted audience. So I would say it depends. You can look at it in 2 ways. Pure technology, I would say GITEX, but again, what technology? Because you have WETEX about new energy. You have, I mean, there's a lot of trade shows, to be honest. So again, technology, which industry? Probably. I will look at this way. Okay. So home automation can be, do you target individual like me and I want to put the product in my house, or is it to a contractor or a developer and they will implement your product inside when they built it? You see? So it really much depends who you're targeting as an audience. This is very important. And by the
Okay,
way,
thank
please, anybody can contact me later, and if you have more, because sometimes it's maybe general. My answers are a bit general, but I would be more than happy to take some time to discuss your project. Not an issue at all. We can have a
okay.
20-minute Zoom call, no commitments, and I would be happy to talk about your project. Not an issue at all.
Thank you so much for all of the, for all of the answer that we got for you. So, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share?
I hope it's a very complex subject because the laws are changing all the time. Also, to be honest, so it's important to keep up with the new regulation. Even as a company, the tax models change recently. It's not the same model in UAE than you can have in Saudi, for example. VAT is not the same. Import tax is not the same. So really understanding the yeah it changed a lot, but it changed for the to make things easier. So even Saudi Arabia, and I talk about it because I'm going myself a lot to Saudi Arabia. I'm going next on the 12th or 11th of May, and I was there just before Ramadan. So it changed so much. It's every time it changed, but to make things easier, you know, because for example, sometimes for some business you need the local partners. You know, it can be a silent partner, so it doesn't mean that you have to share your profit and everything. So I would like to keep try to keep being informed about what's going on, but there's a huge potential. And if you do things properly and in a smart way, there's a lot of potential for you guys. I know that. Go
Thank you
for
so
it.
much. Thank you so much for that, Miss Sonia. So, can you please also leave your email address here on our chat box for anyone who wanted to,
Yes.
contact you if ever?
Voilà. Don't want to make a mistake. Alors, FMCP for distribution, like healthy cigarette, filtered air with natural fragrance, B2B distributors. Yes, Carsten, if I hope I'm saying your name properly, sorry for my accent. Yeah, it's you have stores, you have a lot of stores here, by the way, about this what the word again about the I call it the fake cigarettes, but the puff one. Yeah, you have a lot of stores here. There is market for this. Yeah, and you need a distributor. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Miss Sonia. So, for
Thank you
anyone
for
who
the
wanted to,
opportunity. Thank you so much for having me today. Was
yes,
I talked a lot, but happy
okay.
to be connected with businesses who would love to explore the opportunities here.
Yeah, so for anyone who wanted to connect with Miss Sonia about this topic, the email address is on the screen right now. Please send her or contact her directly. And I will also leave my email address here for um not yet a member of the ITC. You can definitely send me an email about it. So thank you again, Miss Sonia, and to all our insightful
Thank you,
participants for
everybody.
your active engagement in today's webinar on expanding your presence in the Middle East market. As we conclude, remember that adapting to your company's need in this dynamic market requires continuous learning and flexibility. Stay informed about cultural nuance, regulatory changes, and emerging trends. And also keep an eye on your inbox for the certificates. Wishing you a successful journey ahead filled with fruitful endeavors in the Middle East. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we eagerly anticipate our future webinars together. Goodbye, Miss Sonia. Have a good one too.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.